And so it takes more of an understanding, and if it was just purely about money, right, we would have done what was within our set zoning, flipped it, and been out of it a month ago, right? But we took a little bit more time, and we're going to profit a lot more financially from that because we took the time to see what the county needs, whereas net profits on that was going to be about 50%, which is my 50% rule we talk about. But now net profits are going to be closer to 75%. And the community is going to benefit. We're going to have nicer divisions that people want to live in.
Yeah. All right, welcome to the Massive and Passive Income Show. I'm Colter Hansen, and I'm here with Parker Stevens, who's a real estate agent in Fremont County, and that's his main focus target market. And I loved meeting Parker for the first time last weekend, and we went and toured a couple of properties, and then he's been hustling this week, and we've been talking about development and rehabs and fix and flips and just kind of the full swing of opportunity that's in the Fremont County area. And I love how you're serving the market. I love your knowledge, and I'll point it out a little bit down the road in the episode. But welcome to the show. And what are you excited about this week that you think would be fun for us to talk about? We can dive into deals and details and whatever you want, Parker, but...
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate that. I've interacted with a lot of people in my short time, so far only a couple years in as an agent, and I looked at a lot of different directions that I want to go, and kind of the niche that I found has been vacant land development. And that's something I really love, want to get into myself here shortly, and I've helped family members do some deals like that. But just the opportunity, I think what I see from my end as an agent, I interact with a lot of younger kids, kind of my age, and I say kid, I'm in my younger 20s, and they're all looking, they think real estate investing and they think house flipping. And for me, it's like, yeah, you can do that, but that's probably my least favorite avenue. And I know people make money doing it, but just to open perspective that there's money to be made in different ways. It doesn't have to be buy and hold or house flipping either.
Yeah. Well, and so you've decided to niche down into land development. What are some of the specific aspects that you've been able to pick out that you feel like gives you an advantage when you're advising a client to go down a particular development route? I mean, whether they're a new developer or they're an existing developer, what is it that you feel like how you set yourself apart from the next guy?
Yeah, I would say anybody that's looking to get into vacant land development or either help as a real estate professional side, kind of what I do, is learning the local zoning code is more important than anything else. That's why I don't sell property down here, and I think we're in Bonneville County right now in Idaho Falls. I don't sell property in Jefferson County, and once in a blue moon I do Madison County, the county I live in, but that's mainly because there's the code it's your guidebook as an investor to see, okay, what can I do and how can I take a property and do a lift? And we can talk more about what lifts are and things like that, but lift it to a different value, and how does the local law allow me to do that?
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And Parker mentioned to me last week, he says, you know what, I just told myself early on in my career, and if this was going to be my focus, that I would read 15 minutes a day, the code, the planning and zoning codes, the regulations and what it is that would and should happen if a developer comes to present a new plan for a particular piece of property. And I thought that dedication and also that reminder and going back through the codification of the regulation that says these are the rules that you play by. If you're going to play by the rules, here's the playbook.
Yeah, very much so. And don't get me wrong, there is a very human aspect to it too, right? There is interpretation allowed in any county, city, municipality's comprehensive plan that ultimately is done by a planning and zoning commission. For those that don't know what that is, right, it's essentially the people that say yes or no to your projects, right? You want to garner their support. And so something else that's been big for me, in addition to that reading 15 minutes a day, and that what I would recommend to anyone is in the local community that you're looking to primarily invest in. If you're doing vacant land or sure it would be applicable house-wise too, is go to Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. You're going to learn the faces that are making the decisions in your area, because ultimately the culmination of their life experiences, what they're involved in, is going to, it affects all of us in how our perspectives, right? Our experience affects our perspective. And so if you can learn more about these people and watch how they decide and act on other people's projects, you can get so much more comfortable when you're jumping into something that's a conditional use, right? Like a Class 2 permit for a major subdivision, where they can say no, and you just bet a lot of money on that. You can feel a lot more secure in that investment by learning the human aspect of it too.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. You can go by the playbook, but part of that playbook is there is a human factor. You have to deal with people and relationships, and and helping them see the why behind what you're trying to do and why this is good for the community they've lived in either for 12 months or 12 years, or their family's been there for decades and decades.
Yeah, and we see that a ton in Fremont County. There's a ton of families that have been very rural community, and there's a lot of money to be made, but you have to understand the human connections that are going on in the community. Because if you don't understand that, sometimes it's more about perception than it is reality. And from a developer mindset, you have to understand people's perception. Even if you do great projects, they're going to hate you unless you help garner the perception that what you're doing is really bolstering the community and strengthening it.
Yeah. Well, I feel proud to be a real estate investor and business investor, one, because I feel like I come in and I solve problems, and I also create solutions, and I am creative in being able to implement something that is better than what I found it before. And I think that is how, as investors, we can improve our community through investment and creation and building and showing something that is better than what it was before. And I love that opportunity to be able to problem solve and be able to create something better than what I found. And we've learned probably from a young age is that you leave, what is it called? Yeah, I mean, you leave it better than when you found it, right? And so that's I think just one bigger way that we can make that kind of an impact on a community. And I think through responsible and economic development, we can do that for our communities as well.
And you're going to benefit financially more so doing that than trying to ram through projects that are allowed by code. So for example, I say one of my investor clients, it ended up being my father-in-law, who has done a number of smaller subdivisions. We had a piece of ground come up. Wasn't my client, it was an on-market deal, but it came up for a relatively good price. But with the current zoning, it was kind of like par for the course, right? It's like hitting a single, for a sport analogy. And we looked at that, and we looked at, okay, how can we make more money on this? And two, how can this help the community? So to talk about understanding the code in a way that helps the community, Fremont County zoning code, and this might be getting too much into specifics, is written to encourage essentially like 3-acre lots and bigger. Well, what we're seeing is that there's not enough water rights to go around, and there's not smart ways to issue those water rights on a small scale to individual homeowners. And so what we see is a 1/2 acre of beautiful yard, because you can only irrigate a 1/2 acre off a well, and then a 2.5 acre garbage pit, essentially, with junk cars and weeds. And so we looked at that and we were like, okay, then price-wise, we're just, with where we're at in our market, it's just so much more for a family to try to afford a 3-acre lot. They're spending, in our market, $150,000, whereas that 1-acre lot's more like $70,000. So it's like, what are we doing to bring in those young families that are going to invest, like you and your other investor friends, and are going to build the community? How do we bring them in? And so we looked at doing a rezone to 1-acre lots, and actually I've been made aware that as a response to our getting that property rezoned and under some certain parameters, they're actually re-looking at rewriting the comprehensive plan in Fremont County to help incentivize growth that fits the needs of the community so that we can get those younger families in. And so it takes more of an understanding, and if it was just purely about money, right, we would have done what was within our set zoning, flipped it, and been out of it a month ago, right? But we took a little bit more time, and we're going to profit a lot more financially from that because we took the time to see what the county needs, whereas net profits on that was going to be about 50%, which is my 50% rule we talk about. But now net profits are going to be closer to 75%, and the community is going to benefit. We're going to have nicer divisions that people want to live in.
Yeah. Well, I love that. It's smart and economic, and it beautifies our communities. So anyways, Parker, it's been really fun to visit with you, get to know you. Even though it's been a short period of time, I feel like you're just diving in and showing the hustle of, the real estate mindset, why it's powerful to people. And so it's been nice to visit with you, and we'll be doing plenty more of it. So
yeah, I'm sure. Thanks for your
Parker.
time, Colter. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.